I consider myself a very lucky person because I had a chance to know, work with, be friends with, hang out with Barb Davenport. And Barb, as everyone called her, was an absolutely amazing human being. Everything she did at a very high level. And she did it, it seemed effortless to others, while she was doing so many things, juggling being a top-notch educator, an outstanding wife, a lights-out mother, you know, a trustworthy friend, a reliable human being, someone who smiled often. I can go on and on. The list is forever with her positives. And there's really not a day that goes by that I don't think about her, because, you know, our lives connected on a couple different paths. However, you know, I'm on a path right now, I'm hiking, and Barb and I used to talk about hiking nonstop, and mountains, and the Catskills, how they were created, what are the best trails, best views. And she loved it. I used to call her B. Everyone called her Barb, I called her B. And she called me Mahask. Yo, Mahask. She'd always throw a yo in front of there too. Yo, Mahask. I'm just very lucky to have worked with her, to shared stories with her, to laugh with her, to dance with her, to watch her be an outstanding mom, to watch her be an outstanding teacher, to watch her be an outstanding wife, an outstanding farmer, artist, I mean everything, a cook. She was a lights out cook. And I'll never forget what we used to do during Thanksgiving for the kids who had nothing. And it started out as something, an idea to do some Thanksgiving stuff with them and, you know, get them a meal. And it turned into a huge thing thanks to Barb. We took the toughest kids that didn't want to do anything all day long but curse and, you know, nothing productive. And we would create a Thanksgiving meal from scratch. Instead of getting instant potatoes, we peeled potatoes. Turkey, you know, we put bacon on the turkey and cooked it. We didn't buy any breast, we got real turkeys. Stuffing, we took the bread out and we let it get moldy or hard before we turned it. There was no stovetop. So I'm just very thankful that during a time of giving thanks, that she really showed me to do things above and beyond for people who have nothing. And we would make them help us do the stuff, so they got some joy out of the fact that they worked hard. But I'm hiking up Kaaterskill High Peak right now, and that's one that we've talked about a lot, Barb and I. And you know, she's always in my mind when I'm driving to work and looking at mountains. And you know, I know this was one of her favorite mountains. She did like, I don't know, she did like a 9-10 hour day up here or something, but she would always laugh, man. And no matter what, when things were tough, when things were stressful, she would always say, we got this, Mahask, we got this, man. And we'd have to take care of our own lives during Thanksgiving and prepare and set up our own vacations and whatever, but we would be so worn out, heading to Rondout early in the morning to prepare mashed potatoes at 6:15 in the morning before anyone got there. And we would get stressed And she'd always just be like, we got this, Mahask, we got this. She was very positive. And at times when I needed drive, she pumped me up, man. And I will miss her saying, yo, Mahask. I will definitely miss that. She was a very, very special person and a huge loss for everything. Everything she touched, she's a huge loss for these Catskill Mountains. You know, yeah. So she's heavy in my thought. And it's just, I'm just very happy that I had a chance to share life with her, because she was all about life. All right, we got this, right? The thing that I truly loved about Barb was that she had a life outside of work. And when we would sit together for lunch, or when we were not at work, the last thing her and I talked about was work. So that was always very attractive to hang out with her, because, you know, who wants to talk about work? Because she had a life. She did things. She loved life. She had many things to talk about. She was very knowledgeable. All right, keep climbing. Woo! Does that look steep on camera? I hope so. Hills pay bills. And this one's paying a big one. Big one coming. They're only going to get better from here. Hurricane Ledge is a top-notch viewpoint of the Catskills. Turn on the smell-o-vision. Epic scents coming, entering my nostrils. Kaaterskill High Peak. All right, off to Hurricane Ledge. Get ready for this view. Hurricane Ledge is the real deal. Awesome spot. Peace out, Hurricane Ledge. Isn't that awesome? What a great spot. Some good yellows going on. Foliage. As beautiful as it is, you got to be careful. It's all over these slippery rocks. Not long after Barb passed, I was out fishing, thinking about her with a very heavy heart. And I knew that the ceremonies for her passing and getting together with all of her loved ones was falling on a date that I already had plans to go meet up with my 3 best friends that I grew up with to celebrate our 50th birthdays up in the Adirondacks. And I remember going, I'm gonna blow, in my mind, I'm sitting on my kayak going, I'm gonna blow off hanging out with my friends just to go pay respect to the lady who, you know, was amazing. And during that time, I remember sitting on my kayak contemplating this, and the sun came out, and I remember hearing, I don't know, maybe in my mind or whatever, but I just heard the strong feeling of, you know, you gotta do that, Mahask. You gotta get in those woods and live. And I remember I looked up and I snapped a photo at that moment, and it was pretty amazing. So I guess I'll add that photo to this at the end, but it was a very powerful moment. Yeah.